I'm doing fine, but like, yeah, before we get into all the geek news and stuff, I mean, I guess maybe we should do an intro, but
Yeah,
yeah, I want to talk about obviously some of the geek stuff that's happened throughout the week, but much like last week, I'm not sad anymore. I'm just angry.
Gotta love that, because it goes from sadness to anger to, what are the 5 stages of Dylan?
It's hunger is probably pretty high up there. Like arousal, probably pretty high up there. Yeah, deep dark depression. Yeah, maybe like quiet rage. And then 5 is just a numbness.
Love it.
Yeah, I think those are probably my 5. What are yours?
I would say it's going to be denial. I'm going to deny the situation, be like, no, it doesn't exist. It's not a big deal. It's going to be followed with extreme arrogance, being like, well, I can get through this. It's no big deal. Then it's followed by hunger. Then it's followed by sadness. And then it's followed by the extreme arrogance of being like, oh, no, I'm happy. I can get through it. And then the cycle just starts all over again.
Yeah, it's annoying. I'm upset because obviously the pandemic is still around. For those of you who didn't know. It's still a thing. And I was getting unemployment in Florida, and I moved away from Florida about a year ago.
Sure.
And I'm in New Mexico now.
Right.
And I've done some work out here. And I applied for my New Mexico benefits, and I think I got them. Like, it says I've got money waiting in my account, and I've got, like, stuff sitting there.
Okay.
But every week goes by, and I file my claim, and I get no money.
What the fuck?
And then when I've tried to reach out, and it's been close to a month now, and I've reached out every single week, multiple times a week, and I cannot get in touch with anyone. I can't get in touch with anyone via phone, via their email, via the office note. Like, every single place I have gone just to find out, like, hey, what's up? I just want to know, is there something wrong with my account? Did I fill something out wrong?
Piece of paper you got to fill out? Is there just literally one thing you need to do, or multiple things? And whatever it is, you will get it done. You just need to talk to someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I just need to physically speak with a person to find out what the issue is. And I cannot get that. And it is driving me up a fucking wall.
So for our listeners, Dylan has chosen for his color scheme a hellish red. So all I can really see is his face covered in red, almost like in a satanic way. So as he's telling me this story, it only adds to...
Well, it also ties into a couple of things. We're going to, of course, talk about the crow.
Yes.
Which I think is a nice color scheme. We're going to talk about Tiger Woods' unbridled rage. And Control has a lot of red in it. Like the Control's setup is red. So I figured red would be an appropriate color.
Well,
not only for my emotional state today, but for the themes of the episode.
Well,
today.
for that color scheme, for your color scheme that you've chosen, and for that explanation, I think I have to join you in getting myself some red. For the viewers, I'm now turning my smart light bulb into some red as well.
Nice.
All right.
I dig it. We still got a lot of white going on, but
yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I'm in my whole living room. To be able to make it a strong red is going to take a little bit of work. So I think you have to take my initial kindness and just roll with it, because you're always going to get blasted with this white kindness from me.
No, I love the thought.
If we're lanterns, okay, let's quickly. If we're lanterns, you're definitely a red lantern, and then I'm probably more of probably a blue, an indigo, or maybe,
Yeah, in general, I would probably say that we're both greens. We do have a lot of willpower.
We have a lot of willpower.
We got the hope, we got the things going on. But today I'm definitely feeling that atrocitus red, baby. Let's
you're spewing the acid blood out of your mouth.
Well, I think that's probably the geekiest way that we could get into this podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Pop Culture Party People podcast. We are so excited to have you with us. Thank you for all our listeners. I am one of your humble hosts, Warren Chow.
Hi, my name is Dylan Bertzel. and we're going to be talking about some very fun pop culture today.
Very fun.
I'm excited for the stuff that we consumed today. We had, I don't know about you, but I had so much fun rewatching the Crow films. But before we get into those, we had some interesting geek news happen today. I think the biggest one was a huge Nintendo Direct that happened yesterday. A lot of game announcements specifically for Nintendo. And I was wondering, did you watch that? Did you check it out?
No, man, I don't love Nintendo. I'm not a big Nintendo original fan. I didn't grow up playing Zelda. As you famously know, I bought an N64 to play WrestleMania 2000.
I think we should take a moment, everyone. We're on episode 19, and we haven't fully talked about this yet, and I think it's an important time to dive into Warren's shame.
It's not shame. It's extreme pride. I had the time of my life playing that game. I made my own custom character named Gore. I was able to do the Swanton Bomb whenever I wanted to. I could choke slam Kane. I rose the ranks and I became heavyweight champion of the world.
So as we, and I say most normal people, we're playing Mario 64, Pokemon Stadium, fucking Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Warren was over in the corner just like, fuck that shit. You know what I want to do? Wrestle Kane. Let me get it.
I was fully able to customize my moveset. So when I would grapple with a hard A, I could then do a power bomb with a hard A down.
Oh my god. What other N64 games did you have? Like, what was that just it? You just bought an N64 for WrestleMania? Or what,
no,
what
dude,
else did
don't
you have?
insult me. I also had WCW versus NW.
Jesus Christ. You have GoldenEye at least?
I also had WWF Raw, man. So I had 3 wrestling video games. All right, so don't insult me saying I only had 1 game for N64. No, I had GoldenEye. I had Smash Brothers. I think that's it, though. We were more of a PlayStation fan because we were able to get the Japanese emulator. So you would plug it in the back, and I don't know why. This is just classic 90s things where you have to rig it up. So we had to keep the tray open. So I guess the laser, if it read it with the tray down, it can't work. So we had to prop it up with a plastic delivery fork. So we propped open with the emulator on the back. But we got these great Dragon Ball Z ports. We were playing GT games before GT was even in the States. So yeah, PlayStation was huge in the Chow household.
Dude, that's amazing. Yeah, I didn't have a PlayStation. I did eventually get a PlayStation 2, and most of my favorite games were on that system when I was coming up. Because I mean, the PS2, I mean, still to this day is the highest selling console of all time.
Changed our lives.
Yeah, because it was just a beast of a system. Mm-hmm. But the Nintendo Direct had some cool stuff, but nothing amazing. And I have to agree with you now. Like, Nintendo consistently does things to like spit in its fans' face.
Big time.
And it's not fun. Like, it's not great.
It's just like why are you so mean? But it's the problem is that people are going to keep buying them. If we're going to keep buying the new Pokemon for $60, where it's just like a reskin game, like why would they ever change? Why would they ever have to change?
I mean, yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, you vote with your dollars, and we have apparently said that, like, we're totally fine with that. Like, I am excited to play. You don't like Zelda, famously. Zelda's one of my one of my favorite IPs.
Yep.
I am excited to play Skyward Sword because I never had a Wii U. But yeah, it's a $60 game that, like, came out, like, almost 7 years ago now.
Right.
And it's like, that seems stupid to me. Like, that shouldn't be the thing. That shouldn't be the case. Not to mention, like, the new addition to Smash is me and you don't like Smash that much. Like, we enjoy it as a party game and it's fun, but like, if we really want to throw down on some fighting,
we're not going to play Smash.
Yeah, we'll go to a 2D fighter, whether it be Street Fighter or Dragon Ball, or even now we just recently picked up Soul Calibur
and Tekken.
We're playing Tekken and Soul Calibur. And
Strive looks great. Guilty Gear is really catching my eye. Like, really excited for these games. But yeah, Smash is losing its luster every day.
Yeah, Smash is not fun anymore for me. But the thing I always loved about Smash was obviously the inclusion of other video game properties, right? Like that was one of the things where you're like, oh my god, this made it into this game. That's so fucking cool.
Right.
And I feel like Nintendo, with the power it has, especially with Smash, because any developer would happily put their property into Smash.
Of course.
Without batting an eyelash.
And also, you can't make a game like Smash with your own IP. It just doesn't work. Smash is such a gargantuan force that any game similar to it will always pale in comparison. So you just have to jump on board with Smash at this point.
So when they announced 2 characters from Xenoblade, which is another Nintendo property, I'm just like, really?
More swords? Really?
Yeah, let's be just a little bit more creative. Yeah, even if you wanted to include more sword characters, put Sora in there, or Alucard from fucking Castlevania, or but
put Kratos in there. Really shake it up.
There are so many other options that I wish that they did, but that's the thing. I'm always disappointed by Nintendo. Nintendo consistently disappoints me, but I still have such fondness for some of their things.
Yes.
That I can't get away from it. And also, the Switch is amazing as a system for playing ports.
It really is amazing. Take it anywhere. The things that really lend well to how the Switch is made to be used is really exceptional. But I think Nintendo is just like Disney. It's they both are great because they're so accessible, and you as your own person can attach yourself to any given character. It's just such a plethora of openness and accessibility that you can find what works for you, to the point of where I don't even like Mario, but I have a Tanuki Mario keychain, and I have no real feeling of oh, I love Mario or I love it, but because of Mario Kart, I love Tanuki Mario. So that's just the magic of Nintendo. As annoying it is that they're just going to price gouge us and release the same game, or their games are going to be the same. End of the day, when one thing hits right, you have this love for the entirety of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't deny all the IPs that they've created that have stood the test of time and done that.
It's a toxic relationship where you're just oh man, that vacation in Barbados was so amazing. All right, I'll stick it out for 10 more years.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't keep beating me.
You need more money? Okay, but you really got to get your life together. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
No? Okay. Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. In other news, I don't know, speaking of Disney Plus, I don't know if you've been watching WandaVision. I've been falling absolutely in love with that show.
It's so good. Going into it, I was like, this is dumb. This is a dumb, weird sitcom thing. But the entire time, they're just unfolding the next phase of Marvel. It is just so beautiful. It's so well thought out. The Marvel franchise continues to amaze me. Going into post-Endgame era, I just assumed that was going to be just trash. Just what can they do next? And it's been amazing. Your thoughts?
Well, the amazing thing is, obviously now with the inclusion of the X-Men,
yes,
right? Now that Disney owns Fox and they have access to all those IPs, we can legitimately almost have a full Marvel universe. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Sony's still holding on to Spider-Man, but they've got almost the entire canonical canon of Marvel now.
Yes.
And that is so exciting.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, I think that the Marvel movies have their faults, of course. I think they're sometimes too family-friendly, sometimes too formulaic. But I don't know, WandaVision is kind of giving me hope. It's weird, it's kind of dark, it's a little upsetting.
Taking a lot of chances, really making the lead characters have more questionable actions. They're not kind of rewarded at the end. It seems like Wanda is going to be villainous for a while.
And as she should be, because obviously they're following the blueprint of some amazing comic books that have come before it, specifically House of M and The Vision and some other stuff like that. So I am ultra excited, especially, no spoilers, but I'm sure most people know now that Quicksilver from the X-Men universe is now canonically in the Marvel Disney universe. And that is amazing.
And he fits in so perfectly. Evan Peters is such a fun actor, man. I really love his work.
No, I love that guy too. Talk about a dude who's got a lot of range. Obviously been on American Horror Story for a long time, but can do funny, can do really fucking dramatic, can do really dark and evil. He's good. I like him. Yeah, I like him a lot. And I'm very excited to see where this season goes and to see now now that they've done this with WandaVision, like I'm really excited for Winter Soldier and Loki, two shows that I was kind of like, yeah, two shows that I was like, I think they'll be good and I'll watch them, but I'm not like super excited about them. Now that I know that they're taking these like bigger risks and they're setting up obviously phase 5, I'm like, let's fucking go. Let's do this.
Like, it seems like they're almost at this point where money doesn't matter. We're going to throw everything at it to make it top quality content. You know, we're not getting these it's not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're just a cheap little TV show based off the movies. It's like, no, these are comparable to the movies. Like, this could actually be on a big screen if we wanted it to be. It just...
As it should be, right? As we're continually stuck in our houses and as theaters are still on the precipice of never being a thing anymore, which of course really saddens me. But hey, like if this is the new way that we're doing it, Disney, I want you to spend the money. Like,
give me the money, man. Use it, spend it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're making more money than God. I hope you do.
You bought Sony for what, $41 billion? Like, you have the money.
Yeah, they bought. I think they bought Fox for $20 billion.
So then, who are they going to loop in through WandaVision? I have my theories and things that I've read and watched, and it seems like Fantastic Four is being pulled in, X-Men is obviously being pulled in, and then Monica Rambeau is seemingly going to get her powers and become her superhero avatar soon.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I think this is the springboard for them. I feel like Reed Richards is going to come into the picture at some point, and I definitely feel maybe because they obviously need to introduce new Xavier, new Wolverine, new people. This might be the point where maybe Wanda is the jumping off point for mutants.
Everyone in that town and further are going to be turned into mutants essentially. But then it's also, does Magneto show up? Because I'm excited. She's talking about her parents. And if you don't know, now you know, Magneto is Scarlet Witch's daddy.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Now you know.
So, and I want Fassbender to keep playing Magneto. I love him as Magneto. And
no, he does a great job as Magneto.
He's only getting older, so just throw some gray hair on him, make him a Silver Fox. Then he's a Magneto, baby.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see where the season goes. I think it's only got 4 more episodes. So, can't wait to see that. But I think that's all the geek news that I wanted to get out. Rush Limbaugh died. We don't have to talk about that.
Yes.
Thank God.
Goodbye, Rush.
That dude is dead. Yeah. See ya, bro. Dude, I guess we could talk. It doesn't. I don't want to bring the podcast down. I can't believe he didn't get impeached, or get denied. Like, it's so upsetting.
It's just the guy is just a con artist who made his way to presidency and got out. It just fucking sucks. Our government sucks.
I don't want to talk about it too much more, but Rush is gone. I hope that we have the backbone, especially when they I don't know why they're not using their power. It's just
I know other organizations are suing Trump, so there are going to be ramifications. It's just going to not happen through our fucking immediate government, which is insane.
Yeah, which is just upsetting and weird. Much like the Crow trilogy.
It's a tragedy. It's just so cursed. Yes.
Okay. So me and Warren, last episode, if you didn't listen to it, watched Tank Girl. And this brought back a nostalgia for me. A feeling that I hadn't visited this 90s Edge universe
the halcyon days.
Time. And
Edgelord didn't even exist yet. It was the birthing of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Crow in a decade. We need to ask the question. But is it good?
Oh.
Yeah, but for real, is it good?
We watched it as a kid and loved it. Is it still good?
Yeah, but for real, is it good?
The Crow.
Yeah. So me and Warren were originally just going to watch The Crow.
Simple
the first
task,
film.
really fun task.
Yeah. Yeah. Something easy, something that we would have actually enjoyed. And then we decided that we were going to make it much, much worse. And we were going to watch the entire Crow pantheon. But then we scaled it back a little bit because we didn't realize how much fucking Crow content existed in the world. There's so much. There are 4 films and there is a TV series. So what we decided to do was we went
Crow
Crow
2.
1, Crow City of Angels. We skipped the third one
Yes.
with Kirsten Dunst and went to the fourth one with the kid from
Edward
fucking Terminator
Furlong.
and Edward Furlong and a huge cast. I can't believe how many people were in that movie.
Makes no sense.
And-
How many B-class stars they got into one movie?
So we're going to be talking about Crow 1, 2, and 4. If you want to know about Crow 3, watch it yourself
luck.
because we're not doing it.
Good luck with that. That movie is buried. So it says it's on HBO Max, but I tried finding it, and HBO Max won't even show it up when you search for The Crow. So like that movie really shouldn't be watched.
Okay. Well, I guess let's get started with the original Crow,
Yes.
Brandon Lee. Fucking 1996.
I think it's 94.
Or
And then 96 is City of
1994,
Angels.
2 years
Yes.
before Tank Girl. And City of Angels and Tank Girl same year, 1996. So yeah, why don't we start with you, Warren? How do you feel about the first Crow?
So let me preface. I
Brandon
watched
Lee's
the
Crow.
movies backwards because I knew I was going to enjoy this movie. I didn't know I was going to enjoy the other ones, and by doing so, and I think it only showcased more of what a masterpiece in its own right this movie is. It had a vision, it had an idea, it had all its characters figured out, it had some emotional pathos of a man not only on revenge but also trying to rekindle relationships with the young girl and the cop. And it had a bit of a grounded reality where you're in this really dark, disturbed city where Hell Day exists. You're not in some ethereal place where drugs are rampant and anything can happen. You're still like, oh, cops do their jobs. They want to stop murderers. Okay, there's a semblance of justice in this city.
Yeah.
With all that being said, as I love Brandon Lee's performance, he truly makes the character realize for what it is. Because it's so cheesy. The character is so fucking cringy. He's going to quote Edgar Allan Poe as he's attacking you. He's going to cite poetry as he stomps on your head. He's going to do this whole like maniacal thing. It's marred too because of the Joker. You know, I can't help but think of Heath Ledger's Joker the entire time. One, do the mannerisms, the face paint, and also the voice, because Brandon Lee's his natural voice almost kind of sounds like a heightened or lessened Joker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I truly enjoyed it. It holds up for me. It's great.
I would say the exact same thing. My first thought, and this also applies to Gotham.
Yes.
Why live there? You can move. You can move at any time. There's no reason for you to stay in this city. You can go
rent
anywhere.
So high everywhere else that you can only afford Gotham and this Crow City.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Like I don't get it. I love these super dark, super edgy cities where it's just like I don't get it. You could move. You could leave.
Well, in fact, they got killed because they refused to move. They were trying to have them break their lease. They killed them for not doing it.
Yeah, what is so appealing about this place? That was just my initial thought. Anytime I see these places, and specifically Gotham, I'm just like, why do you live there? I don't get it.
It's going to turn around. All right, I know it looks bad now, but in 10 years, this is going to be the new Hoboken, man. I'm telling you.
As for the original Crow with Brandon Lee, I have to say, I love that it is grounded. I like the fact that, there are police and they have a job, and that it feels like they're actively trying to have a grounded story to a certain degree. Obviously, there are these ridiculous elements of a dude coming back to life and painting his face like a pro wrestler. Right?
Sting,
There's
love it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's Sting, right?
Yeah.
Did Sting do it first, or was it this?
It's a great question, and I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I loved Sting, so...
Well, I would say, and Brandon Lee, more than anything, obviously got his dad's ability and physical stats. Like, the dude looks amazing when he's doing his moves.
Yes.
And looks really powerful when he's, fighting. Now, the bigger issue is, the level of cringe in this film is so fucking high.
Yes.
Like, I understand why emo and punk and goth like became what it was, because it had films like this that were like, these are iconic characters, right? For like fashion and stuff in the mid 90s and late 2000s. And if you wanted to be a sad, edgy kid, you would watch these movies and be like,
you found your hero. My people. That's your Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it. This is exactly what I've never thought I would find something so perfectly tailor-made.
I want weird like latex wrappings on my arms, face paint.
Well, yeah, as the movie goes on, he just gets more and more tape around him, which is weird because he heals himself. He doesn't. It's not like he needs the tape for like patching stuff up. It's just
But he loves that.
Not to mention that
you can't lose the shirt.
Yeah,
so
you can't lose that
together.
shirt. Not to mention that his bad guy is literally dressed in like a French 18th century.
Troubadour. He's got a frilly shirt, obviously a long-haired wig the entire time.
But is also from the deep south. Like I wish I knew more about his villain, because he seems interesting. Like how did this dude? Where did he come from?
So much cocaine. So much coke.
Oh my god! Just shocking. And also, let's not forget that Bai Ling is in this.
Yes.
Seminal.
Seemingly has a better handle on English in this movie than anything later on. So it's almost like she unlearned her English later on. You take this movie versus Mortal Kombat Annihilation, her English is gone.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, she speaks pretty coherently in this, and it's totally fine. I would say that I really liked the first Crow. I actually really did enjoy watching it. I would watch it again at some point down the line. Yeah. I think that the stakes between him and the girl are good. Of course, this movie suffers once again from the weird 90s editing. I think it was, they had just gotten non-linear editors.
Right.
And they were editing for the first time on a computer, and they were just like, okay, we can cut a scene to death. Like,
we can do whatever we want now.
Yeah, let's have as many cuts as humanly possible.
Also, a lot of music video editors were getting jobs as directors and doing these full motion picture edit jobs. So they just took those ideas, being like, oh, well, that Manson video I did, we just threw in this scene where he's playing guitar on the rooftop. Let's do that in The Crow. Is there any need for that? How long should we do it for? I don't know. Let's do a full song. Okay.
Yeah, like 3 minutes. Like 3 minutes will be good. I think it'll really pad out the runtime. Oh my god, yeah, the fucking I could feel myself tensing with the cringe as it was happening. Oh my god.
But I would say there's a great performance in there of the guy from Warriors. The little short guy.
Oh yes.
Let me look up his name. So,
well, also in Wicked Prayer, is that Chow as Pestilence?
No, that is the bad guy from Karate Kid Part 2, who then reprises his role in Cobra Kai.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. All right, so David Patrick Kelly plays T-Bird, and he's the guy who explodes in the car. Yes. That guy is amazing. If you give him a little role, he makes a fucking meal out of it, man.
No, yeah, he's a great character actor, super good villain.
Yes.
A lot of the time. He plays villainous roles really well.
All right, let's go to Wicked Prayer. Let's see.
Yeah, see if that's Chow from Warrior. We're going back 2 episodes now. And if you haven't watched Warrior yet, please watch it.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yuji Okamoto plays Pestilence, and he's the dad in Johnny Tsunami. He's chosen in Karate Kid Part 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then you were right. He looked a little chowish to me. Yeah, I definitely know him.
Especially with the facial hair.
Yeah. Then we move on to a Crow film that I watched more as a kid.
Ugh, this movie.
And thought was really good as a child. And then watched it with adult eyes and thought, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
And that is Crow, City of Angels.
City of Angels.
Now, we should also preface this with that The Crow had one good idea, and every single film is that exact same idea.
Yes.
Executed with a different director and vision, which I actually think is kind of cool. It's like a I don't know. It's like a multiple paint. It's like an Andy Warhol situation where
Yeah,
every different artist
Yeah.
gets to put their stamp on the exact same story.
Yes.
And it's just this weird delineation and image change.
And it kind of should be that, because the Crow shouldn't be a singular character. It should be literally the Crow, this undead Grim Reaper, finds this agent of revenge and then pulls him out of the grave to exact their revenge. It shouldn't be Brandon Lee being the Crow continually exacting revenge
every time. And I agree with that. I do wish that they would have been a little bit less sexist and maybe had one female Crow.
Yes.
That would have been nice. The 4 goddamn movies and a TV show, still all men getting over their girlfriends being raped and murdered. Maybe we can change that up a touch.
Well, they did in City of Angels because his son died.
Well, actually,
so there was no girlfriend. It was just his son. So ipso facto, not fully sexist.
that is technically true. In City of Angels, instead of it being a woman brutally murdered and raped, it is a child being brutally murdered. No rape in this one. Yay.
That's why it sucks, though.
Yeah. So Crow City of Angels is weird to me because I actually think it looks more visually interesting than the original Crow. I think the Crow is just... The first Crow is just black on black on black. It's like hard to see shit sometimes in that fucking movie. And you're just like, dude, we need something to break up all of this clutter.
We get it, it's nighttime.
Yeah, I get it. There's no sun. Cool. And what I liked about City of Angels, and I guess I picked up on this as a kid, there is a much better cinematography choice in this film. Every single place in the movie has a very distinct feel, and it has color too. It's all like washed out and kind of grainy, but it's yellows and greens and reds and it has a more visually interesting look. Apart from the visuals, everything else is total garbage.
It's awful. Well, you can almost think that this movie was a huge influence for The Matrix in its cinematography because those greens are used so much. It's such a brilliant way of being like, it is nighttime, but we can see clearly. You know, you can see the grittiness without being like, it's dark. It's more like, no, it's more offsetting and more uncomfortable than it is actually literally dark and hard to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It has a different tone. It just feels gross.
Oh man,
everything just feels disgusting.
It's still better than Wicked Prayer, who just chose to just not do any of that and film it during the day, which completely negates everything the Crow is going for.
Yeah, I love the contrast between Wicked Prayer. I honestly don't have too much more to say about City of Angels. It's not good. Admittedly, I forgot that Thomas Jane was in this. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, Thomas Jane, what are you fucking doing here? I do think that, once again, the Crow suffers from these villain issues where it's like, where are these villains coming from?
Right. Why? What is a sludge pit of drug dealers happening? Like, what is this guy?
Yeah, like where did he come from? How does he know about the devil? Where did he kidnap this woman with no eye? Like, they need to explain those backstories a little bit.
Right.
Like,
Flesh them out. We want to hate them
so much
they'll get killed.
Goddamn time. Talking about this dude's kids and his flashbacks and all. Like, give me one scene that explains who the fuck this guy is.
Yes. Well, I will say for City of Angels is that the cut that we saw is Miramax jumping in and taking control and editing it for themselves. The original director has a different vision that had 30 to 40 minutes of deleted scenes.
Ooh, that sounds rough.
So, and they then released a director's cut that added 5 more minutes to it that the director had no input on. It is not a director's cut. So then in 2007, a fan did a fan edit with animated reimagining of what the scenes actually would. And the director said this was the closest representation to the movie that he wanted to make. So it's still going to be a bad movie, but we don't know fully what it is.
I guess that's true. Yeah, maybe some of it got lost in editing, but I feel like the dude who played the Crow in this one,
he's so bad,
doesn't speak English as his first language, and it's very evident throughout the entirety of the movie whenever he talks to anybody. Because, they don't let him talk 90% of the time, but when he does, he's got a super thick accent, and it's just like, okay. Not to mention the fact that the main girl, is that supposed to be the girl from the first Crow?
Yes,
I mean, I know they're alluding to it with her ring, but like, I don't know how that because the girl in the first movie is blonde, seems like a tomboy. She turns into this goth princess.
I mean, when Brandon Lee as the Crow saves your life, you're gonna change. It's gonna be a fundamental change in your life. You're not gonna be a
physiological, full physiological change. I will admit that chick is super cute. Like,
yeah. Did you see None Other Teen Movie?
Yeah,
she plays the sister in it.
Yes, she does. I know.
So,
I have some feelings about that. Yes.
More.
But yeah, so I would say City of Angels definitely a number 2 to the original Crow. Then we have Warren's favorite film, recent memory, Crow, Wicked City. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about Crow, Wicked City?
Well, so
Wicked Prayer. Sorry,
yes.
Not
please be accurate. It deserves that much. Watching this movie first almost made me quit on this whole experiment because it stars Edward Furlong, who I'm sure everyone heard the same urban legend that he was dead. So he came back to life. His career came back to life, and he starred in The Crow, Wicked Prayer. We also had a cast of Tara Reid. It has
dude from Angel, Danny Trejo, the love interest of Elle from fucking Entourage.
Yes, Emmanuel Churchkey. They have, as we told you earlier, the bad guy from Karate Kid Part 2. It has Marcus Chong, who played Tank in The Matrix. They have Tito Ortiz, former UFC champion of the world. They have David Boreanaz. They have... I think we could keep going, but that's pretty much
if you were a B actor, you were offered a part in Crow, Wicked Prayer, and you took it.
And I would say that the shooting style and the emotion behind it reminds me of a really, really cheap student class project of a remake of Romeo plus Juliet. They were like,
no, dude. The weird thing is, it's a total ripoff of Robert Rodriguez' Desperado.
Oh my God!
Not to mention it's Dimension Films, which I believe is Robert Rodriguez's production company, and everything about the movie is just a ripoff of Rodriguez's style.
That makes perfect sense
in the worst way possible.
Yes, with a quick cut to an action move and then the body falling to like suddenly quick cut to a face and expression. It's so cartoony the entire time. Yes. I guess I'm talking mostly of the Edward Furlong, Emmanuel Churchkey acting scenes in the beginning where they're just touching each other's faces and almost talking Shakespearean to each other. I was like, man, you guys want to be Romeo and Juliet so badly, but you are just such bad actors. You're so bad. You're so cringy.
Well, yeah, we should also say that this one, every Crow story follows the same format.
Yes.
But usually you get into the action pretty quick.
Yes.
Wicked Prayer and Crow, girlfriend's dead almost instantaneously in the beginning of the movie.
But this one...
I mean, Crow starts off with them being dead. Like, that's the opening scene of the movie.
He's trying to piece together what happened, and you are as a viewer. But
this one, they have a 30-minute intro introducing these characters.
Yes.
Let's also not forget that the whole mining town backstory where
they're mining toxic waste, but they're mad they lost their job to a casino. It's like, you're mining toxic waste. You don't want that job.
Yeah. You want that job to stop.
Yes.
You would want that job to be shut down.
Everyone wants that job to end. That's bad for everyone. Yeah.
So the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse kill all the people in the mining town.
Right. To stop
stop the thing, which doesn't make sense because they should kill the people who are opening the casino.
Right.
The story is hard to follow.
Right, and there were ex-convicts at one time that were then miners, but they lost their job, and they're
yes. None of it makes sense.
No, not at all.
I'm going to say yes to everything because for all of the setup that they give, they don't explain anything.
No,
they don't explain how they get this book that is owned by Dennis Hopper, who is also in this movie.
He's a paraplegic pimp who is a satanic ritualist. And he talks very, very racist. He's just
not only racist, but like Like, yeah, it's so. Oh, once again, the cringe in the. If you thought the cringe in the original movies was bad,
Yes.
this film is nothing but just hard amounts of please stop.
Yes.
Just please stop what you're
Anyone,
doing.
just stop this right now. They cast Danny Trejo as a Native American chief, and he at one point has to do a dance to preserve the crow or bring it back to life or something like that.
Yeah, bring it back to life.
And it's just so.
They have him take off his shirt and do like a bandito dance.
Yes.
Around a dead crow puppet, and everything about it is wrong.
Everything about it.
Not to mention that Tara Reid's acting in this movie is so like she was never a good actress, but none of their when she was in American Pie and all those movies was like, okay, this will pass, this is fine. But her trying to be menacing is one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life. It is so special. Not to mention that so they bring the devil back into this dude's body.
Right.
Which, by the way, did you like how they had the 666 on his chest, but then in another scene they have it? Yeah, it like keeps moving across his
like
body.
It doesn't make
scabies.
Yeah, like he's got fucking chicken pox of the devil. Like Satan pox. Oh my god. Not to mention that whole peyote scene where Jesus. God. There's just so much, guys. But I would say this. It is not a fun movie to watch, but as a bad film, like, and if you're watching it with people, it's a fun experience.
It gets up there. It really is special. It like if you went to, it's the same thing when you saw Batman in the daylight in Justice League. He's no longer a cool, brooding bad guy. He's just like this weirdo needs to take that mask off. So it's the same thing with Edward Furlong the Crow and this New Mexico desert. It's like, hey man, you must be so hot in that jacket. Your face paint looks stupid. Can you just stop? Well,
not only that, he's not in face paint for most of it because it would just melt off because he's sweating so much. And the Crow in the daytime, not the way to go.
No. And you watch it for the action, and the action is so bad. It's so awful.
You're absolutely right with what you said before. So it's like a shot of a fist coming in, and then a shot of it hitting their face, and then a shot of them falling over. It's the way that it is cut is so bad. And I don't think Edward Furlong was known for his martial arts prowess when they hired him.
He was a triple black belt in the in the Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal School of Martial Arts. So
with credentials like that. But guys, that is the Crow trilogy. I will say, but is it good? The original Crow still is. I actually still enjoyed watching that film.
Yeah.
But stop after that. Don't think about the rest.
Yeah, don't think about the rest. And there's no need for a remake. Please just let it end. It was what
just
it
let
was.
It end. It was a very specific time in the 90s where things needed to be edgy and dark and emo. Leave that film
in the past
where it is.
Thank you for your time.
Please do not remake
Brandon Lee, you really shined as that character. I will always remember that. They were trying to remake it in 2018 with Jason Momoa as the Crow, and it's like...
Please don't.
Yeah, just stop.
Just stop. That is very much a thing that needs to live in the 90s.
Yes.
Like...
We have enough revenge stories too. We had Taken. We have all these things like this. It's not a movie that hasn't been redone in its own way. It's done. Let it die.
Yeah. Well, not only that. Now that there are 4 of them, like pick a different comic book because it is the same story over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
So we're gonna say but is it good for the first Crow? Yes. Everything else, forget it. Just don't even think about it.
So is it good? No, because it was sullied by its sequels.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Anywho, let's get more sad. And should we talk about the Tiger Woods documentary? Let's get that out of the way.
I was about to say I didn't have a good transition for this, but I think let's talk about something even more depressing than the Crow movies. Yes. Tiger Woods' life.
Oh my God.
So Warren's suggestion for me last week was a documentary 2-part series that's on HBO Max. All about Tiger Woods' life.
Right.
And I have to say, it's really good.
It's really
good documentary.
It's done well.
It's done very well. The production value is definitely there. And this is one of the fun things. As a documentarian, I love seeing the different ways that people go about doing their interviews, lighting their interviews, and setting their stuff up. And this one is very bare bones in the sense that they're all in the same room.
Right.
They're all, very confessional style sort of done. But it gives you a lot of information that I, of course, did not know about Tiger Woods.
Same
I'm not
here.
a huge golfer.
Right.
Definitely a sport that I don't follow or care about, but everybody knows about Tiger Woods' domination in the late 90s and early 2000s,
Right.
of him just destroying golf.
Yes.
Unreal.
Yes.
How good he was.
Yes.
And he was so good because his father was a megalomaniac. The
Huge.
dude is insane.
Yes. Making him, well, not making him, but seeing he had a talent for it, but then being like, we're going to hit the golf club every day. You're going to get really good at this. And I'm going to mentally condition you to handle any situation. He took his military special ops training and used it on his child. That is fucking crazy. That is so painful.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway from this documentary is that you can achieve greatness, but at what cost?
At what cost? Exactly. Exactly.
This dude, clearly when Tiger was younger and he was just trying to live his normal life, was not allowed to do that.
Mm-mm.
His family went out of its way to shelter him from the rest of the world and
Right.
only put him into golf.
Right.
There's a point where he had a girlfriend and the parents stopped that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't allow that relationship to continue, and he fell for it because much like any kid would, right? You love your parents,
Mhm.
and
You believe
if
that
that's
their
the
best
only thing that
interest in
you
mind.
know,
Yep.
yeah, you think that they've got your best interest at heart, and you think that that's going to be the thing. And they did that throughout his life until eventually, of course, as he got older and started seeing his dad, who happens to be a cheater and a liar and a big philanderer, which on the face of it, I wouldn't judge as harshly normally. I think as much as I hate cheating, especially as somebody who's done a lot of sexuality research and stuff like that, I understand it more and I can be more forgiving of it. But his dad was just not a good dude.
No, not at all. To a point where Tiger Woods had to cut him out of his own life. And it was kind of a sad thing of when he was finally starting to make himself more emotionally available. Tiger's father, that is. Tiger didn't want any part to do with him, and then he passed away, which then caused Tiger to enter this crazy psychological thing of trying to understand his father through doing military training and then continuing his womanizing, and only led to his intense drug addiction and the collapse of his empire, quote unquote.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's also not forget that the man pushed himself so hard that he broke his leg during playing.
Yes, and still won.
And continued to play and won that tournament.
Yes.
Yes. For most people, and I think that's kind of a common theme among a lot of sports stuff, Jordan playing with the flu and stuff like that. It's this whole idea that there are these moments in sports history where they overcome the odds. But honestly, on the face of it, it's no, he should have sat that game out.
Yes.
He should have taken care of himself, and we shouldn't have even asked him to do that because it was detrimental to his health.
Right. But when it's an addiction. Winning is an addiction. When it drives you to that extent, it's an alarming thing. Be are you okay? Are you sure you won? At what cost though? Do you need to see someone? And I think that's spoiler warning. Tiger, in the end of it, the documentary is very kind to him. Seemingly, it's he reclaimed his life. He's with his children now, and he's playing golf happily. It seemed like he got therapy, he got over his addiction, and it seemed like he's not doing these really abusive things to himself. To a point where, if you watch YouTube videos with him conversing with other golfers, he seems like he's a genuinely fun person to be around now. He's not just some monster out there to destroy your game.
It seems like he's really turned it around. It seems like he's genuinely, because before he seemed like a robot.
Yes.
Yes. He seemed terrifying to be around. Right. And I like that the documentary, explores the subject of racism in golf and how that affected the game and stuff like that. I think it does a really good job of presenting that. The
pressures of social identity too, where he was forced to be a black golfer when he himself did not identify exclusively as black. So
yes. And I think it's a little upsetting. One of the things I loved and didn't like about The Last Dance is because obviously Jordan was heavily involved in the production of that. So it leads to you being how negative are they going to go on this? But it's still nice to hear from the people who were there.
Yes.
You know, like it's nice because they do have his caddy and they do have his other thing, but I do wish at some point in the documentary they interviewed Tiger. You know, like it's one of those things where I would like to hear what he has to say outside of like an Oprah interview.
And he's not ready to yet. Maybe in a few years we'll get that, but like his whole party is already trying to discredit the documentary and be like, that's not accurate, and this is all bullshit sort of thing. So they don't necessarily agree with things that are being said. But it's not even that. It's not a Hackett job. They're not trying to take him down or anything. It seems very kind to him. I would say that what brought to light is his womanizing. It's not him just sleeping with plenty of people. It's that he's emotionally he's a fuckboy where he emotionally is breaking them down, thinking that he's madly in love with them, and they fall in love with him, and then he's just continuing on somewhere else. And it's that that need for
he was
love,
filling the void. Yeah, in himself.
It's really gross. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, but I mean, I can't blame him for that because his parents didn't give him that love, right? So like, obviously, when you get that level of fame and people are clamoring after you, you know, you fall into those. It feels good, right? Just the same way that the drugs felt good.
Yeah,
you know,
I have sympathy for him, but I blame him for not getting help. But he didn't know to do that. You know, like in the end, he got help now, and that's good. And he has to pay for his sins that he made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his reputation has definitely been tarnished over the past couple of years. But I mean, there's no denying his skill on the field. There's also but there's also no denying that like now that he seems like he's turned the corner, he can be better, right? Like he fucked up, but everybody likes a redemption story.
So also being on the inside a little bit, not so much of like, oh, I was there for that, but the woman he was largely with, I can't think of her name, who's the party organizer. She is an employee at Tao Group, which is the restaurant chain that I bartended for. And I bartended for the Heidi Klum Halloween party of 2019. So I was working at one of these events that she organizes these party things. And to see what would create someone to be like, oh, I'm going to these parties to just pick up women and live this very insidious life. It makes perfect sense because like these events are just give them whatever they want. It goes from like a simple large party to them going to these back rooms to just really whatever you want, we can get for you. Like to the point where they had to tell employees that like we do not solicit sex here. That is not part of the job. But then it's also kind of like, but behind closed doors, we might ask you to do that though. We legally say that's not part of the job, but
yeah, we as they're saying it, they're like raising their eyebrows, like we don't do this.
Right.
Look at me, we don't wink.
No.
Do this.
When I leave this room, I said don't do this.
As they're shaking their head vigorously, presenting a contract.
Yes.
So yeah, no, like, and the same thing's true for almost all big celebrities, right? Like, if there's no one to stop you, and you don't know how to stop yourself, yeah, you're gonna get in some fucking trouble.
Yep, no question. It's the Chris Farley thing, you know. If you're trying to get sober, but every time you walk into a bar, they're throwing drinks and drugs at you, it's gonna be nearly impossible to pass it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I definitely enjoyed it. I think it's a really good documentary. If anybody is even remotely interested in Tiger Woods and his backstory, I think it's a great primer film for you understanding him a little bit better. I don't think it's a hatchet piece at all. I think it presents the facts pretty plainly as they happen. And that's one of the things too, as a documentary filmmaker, you know, you never want to go out of your way to be a hit piece, right? But you do have to present the information that you have. Like, I mean,
real quickly, what are your thoughts on Tiger King then? Because it feels like a hatchet job on the woman down south, Carol Baskins.
I kind of don't think so. I think that Tiger King is definitely exploitative to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like those filmmakers knew that they had insane content because Joe Exotic is insane. Right. As for the claims of Carol Baskin potentially murdering her husband, I mean, I don't know if they should have left it out. I mean, her stuff is fucking fishy. Like, I'm really not going to deny that, like, the way that they present it, and even when I did research after it definitely feels like something happened to her husband.
I mean, that shit's fishy, but I feel like what's even more wrong is the third guy, who is obviously the fucking guy who like traps women to work for him for free, and he's profiting still. He's been like the movie animal guy for the longest time.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
absolutely.
I feel
yeah,
like
I feel like
yeah.
the documentary does a good job of at least presenting them and being like, maybe people should look into this a little more. Like,
Yes.
our documentary is about Joe Exotic
Yes.
specifically
Yes.
and all the crazy people that he's interacted with. But you know what? If the documentary was like, hey, these people are a little suspicious, maybe we should look into it more. Here's the information that we have. We're presenting it in a way.
Mhm.
I think that in some ways that's okay. I never felt throughout Tiger King that they were like, Carol's guilty, but I do
Right.
think that they presented that Joe thought she was guilty
Yes.
and everything that he did to try and get her arrested.
Yeah, because narratively they're following Joe's story. So whatever else like information they give is at some point you're just trying to follow the one story that you're working on now. You can't be burdened by every piece of information that you have discovered on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, they're not detectives. They're not journalists.
Mhm.
Like, at the end of the day, it's still a piece of filmmaking that's supposed to be entertaining.
Yes.
Obviously, it carries a certain level of integrity, or I feel that documentaries should carry a certain level of integrity. But at the end of the day, yeah, Joe was the main subject, and he felt very strongly that Carol killed her husband, and they presented why he felt that way.
Mhm.
But it's not up to the filmmakers to like follow those leads down, you
Right.
know, and prove whether or not that's true. Because the movie's about how Joe got arrested and, you know, all that stuff.
Wow.
But goddamn, that was an entertaining fucking piece of filmmaking early on in the pandemic. Goddamn.
Really helped out for a few months.
It really did. Now we're going to talk about one of my favorite games in
Woo!
recent memory and transition into Control.
Control.
So I
Yes, go ahead.
No, I was about to say I recommended this game to Warren because it is currently free on the PlayStation Store,
Yes.
and I fell in love with it, platinumed it, and I really wanted Warren to experience it because I think that he would really enjoy it. It's got a very interesting and unique story told part through actual action video pieces that are played inside of the game, and then of course the game itself.
Mhm.
And it's kind of got this. Warren, have you ever heard of the SCP Society?
No, what's SCP
The
Society?
SCP Society is like kind of like the X-Files. It's like this internet group that started, and it creates all of these creatures that are
Okay.
kind of, I don't know if Slender Man falls into it, but they're all of these creatures that are part of this SCP Society, and they all have different powers and abilities, and there's a group called the SCP that contains them. And that's very similar to what Control is with these objects of power. But Warren, why don't you tell me a little bit more about your experience with Control?
Wait, SCP, like they're real people, or is this like comic book? Is this
No,
fictional?
this was I believe a Reddit forum that started, and now it's a huge community online called the SCP Society.
Oh my god!
Look it up. It's actually really interesting. I'd
Um,
actually really like to make like a comic book
that sounds amazing. Yeah, why has that not been made into media? Or a paid
I don't
position?
know. It's
Want that
very
job.
weird. I don't know who owns the
Yeah.
rights to it because it's an internet group that is you contribute to
Right.
it for free. But it's
Right.
very cool. It's very interesting.
All right, I check that out. All right, sorry. With Control now, I see why you love it so much. It has like this Kubrick feel to it. It's like you're playing a visual novel, and with really fun combat, and the acting in it is superb. Like you can see the games are growing more and more by hiring actors to perform as these characters in video games, whether it's mocap or just they watch them perform and they map it on the characters. It feels so real. It feels like you are in a movie the entire time. And they have these really interesting ways of shifting the room in almost like an acid trip or like this different dimension. So it really kind of pulls you into the action in the game. I thoroughly love it. I haven't played too far into it. I've converted maybe 3 rooms so far. My gun isn't upgraded yet. And I'm very confused. I'm very confused of where I need to go and what's happening. But I'm all in. I'm definitely enjoying it.
Well, yeah, this is amazing. So Control's whole thing, and you, as you're playing, you have to read everything. Like whenever you pick up a piece of paper or something like that, it will have vital information stored in it. And this building is, it's very Kubrick. It's more, I would even say it's more David like Lynch or Cronenberg.
Sure.
Like, it is like playing a movie. When I was playing it, I was like, this is a mix of like Twin Peaks meets like the X-Files meets the SCP Society, which we just talked about. And everything about the game, for me anyway, and I'm glad you're feeling this way too, is you're confused, but you want to know more. You're like, what's happening?
Yes.
I need to find out more about this. And they do such a good job with the acting, like Warren just said. As much as the gameplay is fun, I wanted to just watch it at times. I was just like, the level of acting and skill in the performances in this game, I think is like second to none. Like it is unbelievable.
Agree. It's TV worthy. It's Golden Globe worthy. I think the gameplay pales in comparison because the gameplay is fairly rudimentary. You have a gun. It's a third-person shooter. You shoot, and you have a melee combat. Obviously, it's going to expand. It's going to grow in combat and control. But I'm just doing the things to get through it to get to the next cutscene. I'm like, man, this onslaught of enemies right now is boring. Let me just cleanse it so I can see them talk more. Let me see the close up and figure out what is going on in their mind. Because the lead character essentially enters this building, not sure why she's there, but everyone around her knows what she is, and you slowly learn that she's actually the boss of them all. And then you start to learn that maybe she's part of these experiments. Maybe she lost her brother the entire time. You're not sure who's communicating her from this ethereal place. And it's really, really amazing.
It's got it. Unlike a lot of games, and I think this kind of felt this way with Edith Finch too. It feels like you're there, like they did a really good job of building the universe that they wanted to build and populating it with not only imagery, but people that felt like they should be there. Like it's very impressive. And this is once again one of those things where, I think video games still kind of get maligned sometimes as maybe not as high of an art form as movies or painting or music. And that's just not true anymore because there are games now that are pushing the boundaries that I don't even think movies are doing. Like, I don't think like they're going so far with what they can do with the storytelling and the immersiveness that I think maybe in like 10 or 15 years, more and more people who had no interest in video games are just going to be experiencing them for the stories that they're putting out. There's going to be a point where a story is so intriguing and interesting that people have to play it to experience it.
Yes. It's almost going to be that thing of Ready Player One where you're going to be in VR and you're going to be living the movie, which essentially is a video game. So I think it's really in the future is just that whether you want to or not, to experience these great stories, you're going to have to put on your VR set and you're going to have to play along with it to get the Cruella origin story starring Emma Stone. If you really want to experience you have to put on the VR goggles.
We didn't talk about that in Geek News. Yeah, that fucking trailer dropped. Oh my God.
Like,
why does this exist? I mean, I love Emma Stone. I love her as an actress. Yeah, sure. I think she's great. But do we really need a Cruella de Vil movie?
No,
like a Cruella de Vil origin story?
Yeah, she was a fashion designer turned evil. Like, we got it.
Just for the love of God, create a different IP, you lazy fucks. Jesus.
Yeah. Plus, Devil Wears Prada is going to do it better no matter how good this movie is. It's just... anyway.
Yeah, well, let's get back to Control. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm excited for you to keep playing it. The combat does get more fun. The combat itself is basically very rudimentary. It's a third-person shooter, but you start getting these cool telekinetic upgrades that start coming into play more and more as you start to discover more about what's Control and what is this building and who are these things. And I don't want to give too much away because this is definitely one of those games where you want to experience the story as it unfolds.
Right.
I would never deny anybody that, but I'm glad that you played it. Would you recommend it to any other people who are into it?
No question. 100%. Say you need to get this game, especially because it's free right now. If you have a PS Plus account, just download it or put it on your library. You can play it another time. This is definitely a rainy day. I don't have anything better to do game. If you start it up, it's going to absorb your life and you'll be playing it nonstop.
It's going to suck you
get
in.
Control.
Big
Well,
time.
speaking of sucking, we're at an hour and we're close to being done. Oh no.
Yeah, man, this was so fun. We got lost talking about The Crow, and it was a great episode, man. This
is amazing. Well, what do you want to do for next week? I think we've done 2 Yeah, But Is It Goods in a row. Do you want to go back and do some Wu-Tang? Like go and pick another kung fu film to drown in?
That could be something, but I'm also thinking of a new segment. Famously in the past, I said that I can't stand bad movies. And you are a connoisseur of movies that need to be watched in a group setting, aka bad movies.
Oh, absolutely.
And after watching Wicked Prayer, I actually had a lot of fun watching it, being like, man, this is so bad, and I can't look away from it. I wonder if we could start a new segment where you suggest bad movies for us to watch, and we talk about it.
Oh, Warren, I've never wanted to do this more. You have been famously adverse to this idea for a very long time, but Wicked Prayer...
Yes, because I am not fun.
Wicked Prayer finally broke you.
Yes. Took a franchise I loved, made it so bad that I was like, I can't look away. All right, what else is out there?
Well, this is amazing. I can't wait to experience this with you. And I think what maybe we should do is potentially watch them together over this or something like that, and maybe potentially record some of that audio. But I think a very fun one to start out with, and one that I think a lot of people will already know, is Mac and Me. I think.
Okay, it's that Paul Rudd movie that he always puts in Conan, right?
It is a film that was produced by McDonald's. The only feature.
Oh my god, that's what that
the only
is?
feature film that McDonald's ever made that is a complete, utter ripoff of E.T., but in the worst possible way. And it is a pure dumpster fire. I cannot wait to watch it with you.
Mac and Me. So, does it have obvious McDonald's commercials?
Oh, 100%.
Like fries. Does fries like empower their
every
oh
piece
my god, I cannot
every
wait.
piece of food that is consumed in the movie is a McDonald's product. I believe Ronald is in it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do believe Ronald makes an appearance.
God.
Yeah, it's very bad. It's very, very bad.
All right, so for next week, we're going to start our segment, It's Very Bad, with Mac and Me.
No, we should, I'll think of a better name for the segment, but yeah.
Okay.
Breaking Warren's spirit with movies, maybe.
Yeah.
So bad it's good with Warren and Dillon. We'll think...
A Clockwork Warren with Mac and Me.
We'll think of a different name, but okay, so next week we're going to watch bad films together. I can't wait. The film is going to be Mac and Me. What is your suggestion to me for next week?
Yeah, so I've always loved eating barbecue, but I recently fell in love with making barbecue and learning more about it because of the reality competition show, the American Barbecue Showdown on Netflix. And it's maybe 8 episodes, and you're taking people who aren't pit masters yet, who are vying to become pit master, and you see all these walks of life showing their barbecue skills. And I loved learning more about barbecue and seeing this delicious food. But more than anything else, this is a cooking competition where it's a communal vibe. They actually want to help each other. They actually are supporting each other, and they want each other to win. So I truly loved this whole thing of like, someone's in dire straits, they would cheer them up, or they help them out. You can see them literally running to help them with their pit stuff too. So it's not a mean-spirited, it is just a lovely competition cooking show with some of the most delicious barbecue that you'll see.
Damn, that sounds very interesting. I love a good cooking show, and I do know that this is on Netflix. It's one of the ones that I've just kind of avoid that. For whatever reason, I've just been like, whatever, I don't need to watch that.
Yeah, it's a cooking competition, more of the same, but it is really fun. I think you'll really enjoy it.
I am excited to watch it. My recommendation for you for next week is a manga that I've been reading, that I've been really enjoying, and is of course up on Shonen Jump's app, and it is Kaiju number 8.
Yes, I love it.
Oh, you've read it already. Damn.
I hate that they will release issues where it's just pictures for 5 pictures and then it's
I do
over.
have a second recommendation that I've also been reading. Have you started Phantom Seer yet?
No. All right.
Okay, so Phantom Seer, this might be better. We were obviously talking about how we love kaiju in the Godzilla vs. Kong episode, so I figure that you might have interacted with that one already. But we also talked about very early on in this podcast, Jujutsu Kaisen, which is very popular now. It's one of the most popular anime out there, except for, of course, Demon Slayer, which is still fucking crushing it, even though that's over.
Oh my god.
And that new video game looks amazing as well. But Phantom Seer is very much along the same vein. A kid exercising demons, really cool art style, and I really like the characters. I'm excited for you to read this and kind of get your takes on whether or not you think it's better than Jujutsu, or if it, is like a pale imitation of it.
Okay. Well, how many issues has it been so far?
I think Phantom Seer is, let me check the app right now. It's up to 23. So you've got at least 2 volumes worth of stuff to read.
Right. So it's on its way to really finding its footing, and the characters should at least be having you know about the world at this point, and they're at a point where they probably need a training montage to better their power.
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely one of those manga that, like, Shonen Jump's in a weird way right now, because 4 of their huge properties ended last year with and now they kind of need to add new stuff to their roster, and I'm hoping that this turns out to be one of them.
I agree, and so far they have some interesting things. This could be a whole nother topic, so I don't want to drag it on too long, but Sakamoto Days is a funny, interesting comedy, and then they're also kind of pushing MASH History of Muscle to be the new One Punch Man. So it's interesting the shape they're in, but it seems like they're not doing well enough with Black Clover.
It doesn't seem like it's hitting those notes, although Spy X Family digitally is one of the most read pieces of manga out there, which is really cool. It's got more readership than I think like My Hero and something else. Like, so digitally it's amazing, and I think that now obviously we need to end the show relatively soon, but I think that if Shonen Jump wants to go totally digital, right? And if that gives their creators more freedom and healthier working conditions, which is super important for the manga industry, I am all for it. Like,
yes, completely. Help them out, help the creators out, make them more money, and turn Spy X Family into an anime / live action show. It is such an amazing content. Or media.
It's so good. And yes, I would fucking love to see an anime of that. But that is it for this episode of Pop Culture Party People. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
You can find me at Unlimited Free Time on YouTube and at All the Birds on Twitter and Instagram. Not doing anything particularly crazy. I'm moving, so content is still down. But hopefully I'll have some more stuff up. Warren, anything else that you'd like to plug?
Yes, you can find me at Show Me the Chaos on Twitch, YouTube. You can find me at Ward Chow on Instagram. Check out my sketch comedy team, Give the Baby a Knife. You can find our stuff on YouTube or on Twitch. And I just want to do a quick shout out to Jurassic Forest for commenting on our YouTube video, saying, "Great show, guys. Thank you so much for that." Please, everyone else, comment. Let us know what other media you might want us to watch.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We really genuinely appreciate any review, any comments. Please, you can follow us at the PCPP podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and at Pop Culture Party People on YouTube. Please leave us comments. We want to hear what you want us to review, and we will be happy to review it. Seriously. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Love you.
Bye. Bye.